All right, it is 5:15.
Yep.
Are we recording? We're good?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Approval of the minutes of January 6th.
So moved.
Can I get a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And nobody's on there, right?
I'm looking right now, no.
Okay. And Carolyn, just so you know, Karen is here. Steve is here. Tom is here. Ilana is here. Sridevi is here. Bill is here and Julie is here. Terry is not here this evening.
And Mr. Gibbons.
And Paul, I didn't hear from at all.
That's odd.
Yes.
Maybe he also is at the basketball game.
Probably a good bet.
Okay, parks usage requests, pick and roll. Won't you please come forward? We have a parks usage request in the, packet for, pick and roll Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 5 to 9 and Sundays from 12 to 3. Matt, do you want to say anything more about it?
So we've got two travel teams, which will be practicing Tuesday and Thursday, kind of the same as we've done for the past several years. And then Wednesday nights we're dedicated to the girls. We're gonna get them in and try and work them out and, kind of last year, it's basically the same thing that we've done for the past several years.
Okay. And so this is starting in April, right? So the conflict with lacrosse is actually
It
not.
could be
with
the
you.
first week. That's the
Yeah.
thing I want to address right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I mean, Blues Time basketball is still at the gym through the end of March.
Okay,
And, you know, we're still,
That's on Wednesday night normally.
it's on
all the
all the.
nights.
No, I know, but see, that's the problem is this should have been nipped when it was submitted.
The lacrosse piece. Yes, the calendar was not updated. So
Right,
that's
so
the
that's-
next piece
Okay.
for Lauren for us to discuss, but that
Okay.
doesn't sound like it's a Matt issue. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean,
It could be the first week
you
of
know,
April.
we're still
if it-
trying to plan the end of our season. By the end of this month, we're pretty much kicked out of the schools because they have other groups coming in, so we push all our travel practices to the Uzi Dome.
Right,
Typically, we're done mid-March, but again, we're still trying to fill the end of March with, you know, we're still exploring new tournaments, so we very well could be in there still, all the way to the end of March.
Okay. And is there a chance that we can carve out some space for lacrosse to be in there on Wednesdays?
I mean, there's a chance, yeah. I can't say for sure right now.
Okay,
We're still exploring tournaments if there's anything available. You know, some teams will probably shut down, so there might be an opportunity.
Oh.
But some teams will probably keep going, so.
okay, we would like to figure out a way of making it possible for lacrosse to be in there. They're requesting Wednesday. Just Wednesdays.
no, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday,
Monday.
Monday, right, it's only one day that goes against basketball.
Yeah, and I actually heard from your dad today,
Hmm.
he said that Uzi was probably gonna continue. So I asked our program if we could start 17.
Okay,
But my kids are both on travel teams with Uzi,
Yeah,
so the girls are done by the 17th.
Of March,
Yeah, and my son is on your team.
yeah,
Are we still having more tournaments?
yeah, we're exploring.
Oh, good.
It's the A's tournament start at the end of March, so we're hoping to try and get into one of those. Just to continue through March.
Right.
okay, so
You know, it's nothing set in stone right now, because.
got, it sounds a little bit like that you've got some flexibility and that you're just looking for contingency for weather.
Yeah, last year, our first practice. After we were here,
Yep,
there was like a little bit of confusion with me and Matt. And like, the first day of practice, it snowed,
right,
and it was like, you know, it's been a snowy season, but,
I would really implore that because the Park and Rec Commission ain't doing lacrosse and ain't doing hoop, that you too figure this out and come to a conclusion that works for you. I don't think,
I did try to go off of what we did last year. I looked at like our text exchange and the confusion that happened. Like, I didn't want to repeat that, so I did reach out to Patrick, but I didn't hear back from him, so I just figured I'd come to the meeting and see how it goes. So I don't want to fight with anyone, and I don't want to have a problem with anyone. If it's not possible, figure it out. It's been really great because it's a central location for kids that are from.
right,
So it feels really important just to state that, like, and I'd love to hear from the rest of the commission, but that we would like to make the Who's Dome available to as many groups as we can possibly make it accessible to. But that also we're not going to be in the business of like trying to puzzle piece, you know, be in the middle of puzzle piecing
Yeah,
pieces
right.
together. So what I'd like to propose is that we accept these contingent on you guys working out.
we
the
empower
days.
them to make those decisions.
That's right. And that, I mean, Who's Basketball did have a parks usage request that was approved. And so that is the precedent that we are working up against. But we would like to ask them to be as flexible as possible in making it possible for you guys to
Yeah.
use the space.
And like I said, there's probably gonna be spots that open up, because some of the teams probably won't go quite as long. Like I try and go as long as possible with my guys,
Of course.
but, just like some of the younger teams might not be doing that, so.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can
Okay,
work something.
I want to hear from Joe in 1 second, but I also want to say, like, the flexibility I think is really great and helpful, and we want to rely on that. And also last minute decisions, we know how complicated those get. So as much lead time as you can get, the better. Joe, what were you going to
I
add?
was just looking at these, you have a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and a Monday, Wednesday. Does that mean Fridays are open?
mm-hmm,
Anything for the taking?
I think Friday is the worst time slot of the week for any child. To be honest.
would it be Hooper?
Or parent.
Yeah. See, everybody. Good try though, Joe, I like your thought, but.
Commissioners, anybody have any more commentary about this?
I will just say that from last year, I think from my own child's experience and probably yours, like they've added the girls, which is nice. So I think that they didn't have, you guys, I don't know if you were using it on Wednesdays. Just
I don't think it happened till like.
the summer. So this year, it sounds like it might
This
be,
year,
yeah, which is really nice that it's, I just want to plug this, not just boys basketball that's happening.
Right.
And so there's like a, you know,
Great.
a need for it.
Anybody else? No? So shall we take a vote to approve, first?
I make a motion that we approve the request by basketball and lacrosse on the contingency that they will, as group leaders, figure out the details.
And come back to us if there are any.
Oh, that's gonna happen anyway. We don't need to legislate that.
Well, they need to come back anyways, because we.
We need to
have a
know.
calendar.
Yeah, we need to know who's doing what when. If you, we're trying to get the calendar, we've got somebody new on it, and it's just taking. Every time it comes out, we gotta redo it, so it's okay, we're making strides.
A second?
Second, okay, good.
All in favor?
All right.
Hi.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
So can I just ask you? I thought Patrick was in charge of the pick and roll. I thought he was the president.
Yeah.
Apologize.
Yeah.
So I reached out to him, but I didn't hear back.
Yeah.
So I do have to move forward with some sort of planning, so will you?
I'll do the planning, because it's still Who's that you're in conflict with,
Yeah.
because pick and roll doesn't start till April.
Yeah,
So I'm the president of Who's, so I'll be the one to contact and we can work.
Can you
work it
guys,
out. Yeah.
can you guys connect tonight
Yeah.
just before you leave and make sure
Yeah.
that, and then feel free to loop me in if it's
So
helpful.
we know we know what's going on, and if it gets to be the first week in April and things are a little hinky because of weather, whatever, that's, you know, then Patrick and whatever, just keep a line in the loop so we can assist
Yes.
if needed.
Good?
Yeah.
Lauren,
Sounds
sound okay? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thanks.
Sure, it's on file. I know yours, I've seen yours, but I haven't seen yours.
ours renewed on February 1st, so
Okay.
it's like
Okay.
We keep asking them, but they're like.
So will you send that to us also
As
as soon as you get it? Thank you so much. Thanks. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. The Grand Lodge of Masons in Massachusetts. Is there someone here for that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Sean, hi, welcome. Will you tell us about this?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Oh, there we go. Now we're popping up. Thank you very much for having me, allowing me to present here. So the Grand Lodge of Masons, about 2 years ago, adopted an initiative to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the founding of our country. It's a 10-year program that we're rolling out, and it began with the Boston Tea Party. And the next stage is a celebration of Colonel Henry Knox and the noble train of artillery that began in Fort Ticonderoga, eventually crossed in South County into Massachusetts and ended at Dorchester Heights. So the Grand Lodge has gone through and commissioned a cannon. The cannon will be leaving Fort Ticonderoga in July of this year. And our first planned stop as of right now is certainly Great Barrington. And what we're looking at doing is certainly firing the cannon is ultimately at Memorial Park, one or two firings. Now this cannon is a real cannon, but we're actually not shooting anything. This is just a make a boom sound, and that's about it, nothing more than that. It'll immediately be followed by a educational event and complimentary luncheon. We are promoting this, or will be promoting this for the public at large. I'm just hoping, hopefully for them to get involved, learn a little bit more about Henry Knox and the Knox Trail and what it is. Certainly everything we do, we've gone through the rules and regulations here. We will be in full compliance with all state, local, and federal laws. We'll have a licensed cannoneer doing this. We do have liability insurance through a subsidiary of Liberty Mutual. I did on the application, I know there were questions about police and EMT. If that's what the town requires, then we will absolutely have a police presence as required by the town. And same thing when it comes to EMTs, if that's required by the town. But this will be the first of right now 9 stops, which could expand to possibly 11 or 12. But we're hoping to make this a signature event as we begin celebrating 1775 here in 2025.
Okay. Motion to approve,
So moved.
second,
Second, with
Police chiefs approve.
discussion. Okay, pending police chief's approval.
Joe, should go through the whole DRT?
I
Well, I'm
guess,
sorry, it's actually, it's police chief approval as well as fire chief approval. I don't have it in front of me, but there is a specific form that has to be completed. It's a federal form that permits the firing of a cannon or mortar. We're not firing mortars. But ultimately, it's the fire chief who has the last say in whether or not we can do this. Certainly, you folks provide access to the park, but if the fire chief says no, then that's it. It ends right then and there. But our next step is it's a domino effect, if you will. We need to get the park before we go to the fire chief, before we go to this, before we go to that, before we go to the next thing. So
Great.
you folks are step one.
So I'll
Thank you.
just repeat again. Joe, should it go to the design review team?
yeah, so I think if you guys approve it, then what we'll do is we'll.
It'll move.
DRT,
Okay,
and then when he goes to the fire chief, fire chief will be.
great. So
Yeah, so
Sean, just,
design review team has a police and fire chief on it.
just to be clear, Sean, to make sure you understand that we have a committee that includes the fire chief and the police chief that will need to approve it. So if we approve it here, that's where it'll go next. Tom, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I just had a question for Sean. Hi, Sean.
Hey, Tom, how we doing?
Good. How's it, how are you, transporting this cannon? Are you gonna have like a little, is it gonna be, how's it, car drawn, horse drawn? Is it, in recreating the path? I'm just curious about that. Is that?
Yeah, it'd be neat if we could do it horse-drawn, but I don't see that happening. My understanding is this cannon's gonna weigh somewhere in the 900 in total, somewhere in the neighborhood of 900 pounds. That's between the carriage and the cannon itself, and the whole thing's made out of brass. So we have a trailer and a CDL licensed driver that'll be moving it from location to location for us.
Are you gonna trace the route pretty much like along Route 20, most of the way from here, or 23 rather?
As best as we can. It's not going to be perfect. One of our stops along the trail, which is going to be in October, I believe, is Old Sturbridge Village. Knox never came through Old Sturbridge Village. But
Right.
it's you know, we kind of have to Band-Aid it together a little bit here and there to make sure we're at locations where people can actually see the cannon and we can have the educational experience tied to it.
Thank you.
I have a
Joe, do you
question.
Go ahead.
Normally, when you fire a dud, there's a plug, a cloth plug that comes out of the cannon. Is that what happens when the noise goes out? What, am I correct in that or not?
I have absolutely no idea. I am not a licensed cannoneer.
Well,
It's a lot.
it's a wad.
A
Thank
wad,
you. We'll
right.
check. We need to have, we need to ask the cannoneer if he's got control of his wad. That would be my question.
I can assure you that he'll be fully licensed, and I assume by being fully licensed, he will have full control of the wad, as it were.
Okay,
Thank you.
I just thought I'd ask because
Okay.
I have had this
Joe.
experience before.
It'll
Please.
just be on Memorial Field itself.
Yeah, so that was my next question is, Joe, what do you need to require of them in terms of where on Memorial Field they can go or not go?
Well, there's plenty of room paralleling Bridge Street
Okay,
where it's out of the playing surface. that
Right.
they can Set up. So if they set up there and fire it, over the field,
and you need to be there.
I think we'll meet them there,
Okay,
get them in and go over the rules about not driving on the field.
yes. So Sean, just to be clear, our approval is contingent on meeting with Joe and understanding his requirements for how to approach the field and where to go and where not to go on the field.
Sure, so we don't destroy the field, absolutely, no
That's
question.
a good idea. Glad to hear you say that.
Is there
Good.
going to be tents set up for luncheon or?
There, it's at St. James, so it's not,
No.
it's not.
They're
doesn't
using
have anything to do.
existing facilities.
Yeah. Okay, can we take a vote?
I make a motion that we
did.
accept I'll second and we've seconded and whatever. Good, go.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, you're good to go to the next step, Sean. Thank you.
I thank you very much, I appreciate it. Have a good evening.
You too.
Take care.
Excellent. Pickleball.
Yoda,
Uh,
we are going like great guys. We want to go to Monday morning. It doesn't affect anybody.
great.
We've got almost 100 people that come.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second,
Anybody have anything more to say?
What do you want?
Donation box, 100 people, that's $100 a day.
Touch.
Can we just take a vote?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Okay, anybody opposed? Nope. Okay, thank you. Excellent. So on here is no old business, but this plaque for John Lucy, I don't know, Karen, if do you want to say anything about that or? Sure. Yeah,
I'll fill you in.
Thank you.
Basically, there was text designed. And edited. I had some people help me edit it. Because John was probably would be one of the people who would be honored down at Memorial Field this spring. Due to his condition. I don't believe that he'll be able to attend such a festivity. So the plaque was done, in your absence, and it was done in a rush job, so Joe did it, got it, went, picked it up in Springfield, and then Steve and myself and Terry Chamberlain and Paul Gibbons went to his home while he was in his hospital bed in the living room and presented him a plaque that basically said, thank you for all the work you've done for decades for youth and athletics from the Parks Commission and the town of Barrington.
great. Thank you so much. Questions about that? Great. Thank you. Okay, updates, Joe.
As far as the parks budget goes, there's a town manager recommendation that will be coming out in the next day or so. pretty much putting all the money back that we need for youth programming. If you recall, a couple years ago, we were up to like $115,000 and we took Housatonic out of it. And it dropped down into the 90s. And this year, when we were looking for some type of level funded budget, it went to zero at one point as an exercise. So the town manager recommendation currently is $92,000. That gives us about $53,000 for lifeguards and 38 or so $1,000 for Railroad Street youth. Lifeguarding, laying out the schedule, and after talking to Janice, because it's hard to staff something 7 days a week. We're not full shifts, so we talked about doing Tuesday through Sunday, staffing it, Monday, Tuesday, no staffing. So basically, it will be 5 8-hour shifts,
Wednesday through Sunday.
Wednesday through Sunday.
Correct.
And then, around the holidays, we would pick up the Monday on the Monday holidays. And then the 4th of July weekend, that's adding a guard there because of the usage of stuff for the whole weekend.
Great.
So we're at least at that point in the budget process. I will start meetings, I think, next week.
Great. I just asked Joe to come and give us an update on where we are with things. Does anyone have any questions for him about that?
So that's one lifeguard on duty
No.
No.
No, it's 2 lifeguards on duty
Always.
for 8,
and, what's that?
for 8 hours.
For 8 hours.
Yep.
And sometimes 3 lifeguards on duty.
Okay.
But the idea was that if they didn't have to staff all 7 days, those guards could do more of the days.
So we'll
So
still have,
cumulatively fewer humans.
we'll still have to go through the bidding process because of the money that's involved. But we're gonna tighten up the restrictions on where, how close they have to be for response times and emergency support and things like that, so you don't end up with administrative staff in Georgia. It's just staff here.
Great.
So we'll tighten that up a little bit.
You
this
can
year.
construct the RFP, so all those things are taken care of.
So does it mean there's no lifeguards on Mondays and Tuesdays?
Correct,
Just on holiday Mondays?
correct.
Correct.
If you look at the scope of this whole thing and how it has to work, this is the most functional of all of it.
And it works better for the staff over
Right.
at Berkshire South, because instead of 7, they could probably get away with 4. Cover days off here and there. So Memorial Day to
Labor.
the end of school, it's weekends. End of school to the start of school, which is around Labor Day.
Right.
It's 5 days a week. And then we do weekends.
For another month, depending on what the weather.
And last year, just to remind everyone, it ended up not being staffed 7 days anyway, because we didn't have enough staff. So
Correct.
this is a way of anticipating and not being like behind the 8 ball.
I think it'll give us better consistent service too.
Great.
And people will know, it won't be hit or miss. They
Like
know
they'll
Monday,
know
Tuesday.
Wednesdays there's a lifeguard,
Right.
Tuesdays there's.
If I'm gonna bring kids or my Wednesday through Sunday's good, Monday and Tuesday, there's no lifeguards, and as long as we communicate that and are clear, I think and they're used to it because we didn't have guards all the time last year. So I think it'll work.
And it will be signed accordingly.
Right.
Put the signs up when we're not there, and
Right.
when we leave and stuff like that.
Great, right, thank you.
We'll talk to Janice, we'll talk to the successful bidder about just the operation of the site a little bit.
Excellent. Okay, Grove Street, multipurpose surface.
So we have CPA money to do the construction there. We don't have CPA money for engineering. I submitted the paperwork, it just hasn't been processed yet in town hall.
Is that the path around the park
But no, that's the court surface.
for the courts?
It's enlarging the court surface, so it could be multi-purpose with a bunch of different things.
Okay.
Pickleball, tennis, volleyball, basketball.
Can be used for anything.
Great, you'll keep us posted on that?
Yep.
Thank you. Additional parking at Lake Mansfield Boat Ramp.
So this was an item that came up as we were approaching closing of Lake Mansfield Road. These people used to park a little further down the road and get a few more parking spots. There's only like 5 now, I think.
Right.
So I had quite a few calls. I know Mark did. So we looked at that. Actually couldn't determine from information that we found in the field, so we actually surveyed it and had a design made. So if you're going down Lake Mansfield Road towards the boat ramp, on the right-hand side, there's a tree belt into the sidewalk. On the left-hand side, there's those metal posts that stick out of the ground. We can actually, our property goes back a fair distance there. So we can actually widen that out in parallel park there, which
Does
can.
everybody know what he's
Into
talking
the,
about?
Yes.
yes.
On the walkway?
No, the other way.
You could take out those metal posts.
Yes. move
Yeah,
back.
and move them.
Yeah, so those metal posts are actually on our property.
So is it Lake Mansfield Road or is it still Hollenbeck?
It's turned into Lake Mansfield Road.
At the
and it's an
intersection,
extension
there's
of
The
it.
end of Hollenbeck.
Right.
Extension of.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's our land.
Have you talked to the neighbor who put those posts in and
Gardella?
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
No.
he is not,
Okay, I'll
she
have to
is,
sit up there.
yeah,
His
she is.
son lives there still, right?
I believe so,
Yeah.
yeah,
So that I
because
haven't done.
they've been mowing that for 60 years.
I know.
Care.
Well, it does legally, it does make a difference.
Well, the problem
It's
is,
called adverse possession.
I understand that, but the problem is that because of the way that whole traffic pattern is now changed, the more parking we can squeeze at that particular area, the better off we're gonna be.
I'm not against it, I'm just saying you,
I'll do that.
yeah.
There's some steps that need to happen.
Yeah.
The one thing about that is, people coming up there, if we have more parking there, that area is gonna get used more for swimming and other types of use like that, cause that did happen last summer. Cause some people just drive up there and they're just gonna hop in the water right there. They don't wanna drive around to the other side. So I don't, I understand that it's a good idea to have more parking there, but if we put more parking there, that's gonna get more use, not just from boats and flotation devices. There's gonna be people just swimming in there, and
Probably no different than people swim outside the swim ring.
Right, outside the lines.
So it's like.
I'm just-
things that
I'm
are
just-
risk.
it's just, we're gonna get more usage there, with that.
Well, I think that that's an important thing to keep in mind, and I also think it makes sense to continue to pursue this, to see.
So just so you're where we're at right now is we'll talk to the owner and get feedback there. The design is done, we just don't have the money.
Okay.
So it may be a CPA thing for next year, or we'll keep an eye out for grants or something like
There's
that.
another consideration, I'm sorry to interrupt, Joe, but recently, the post office changed the position, the location of the mailboxes belonging to the houses across the street. It used to, because of the rerouting of Nob Hill, so those boxes are now where those highway bollards are. So
I'm
that,
trying not to laugh, because that was a nightmare up there when
right,
things
So,
roads got closed and made one way.
I don't know how the post office is going to respond to that, breach of their route,
We do work with them when we
Yeah.
close roads, so they know how to get to places that.
Yeah.
Every time we close a road, we copy them.
So I think that these are very good and important considerations. Everybody okay with Joe continuing to pursue it?
Sure.
Soft?
Yeah.
I have one just silly question. Whose jurisdiction is this? Is it the parks? Is it the select board? Is it the town manager?
Concom.
True.
Well, Concom, we've already talked to them, they don't have, there's no.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's.
So
one
I'm
out of
just
one.
curious,
I would say that it is related to recreation,
but it's not a park.
Not part of the
It's
but
park.
we are also the Recreation Commission.
And it doesn't matter for land.
Yeah, but Stephen, with all due respect, I think that getting an opinion and getting some
Oh,
input.
no,
is a
no, I'm
good
not
thing.
saying that's, but.
I mean, that's what we need to
The
do.
reason I'm asking is only because I know what's gonna happen. The ultimate decision is gonna be made. There's gonna be some pushback. And who's making the ultimate
You
decision so
guys
they
get
can
paid
handle
the big
that?
bucks, come on.
I don't care who does it.
Come
I just
on.
wanna make sure we're all in the same boat.
Well, it's gonna go nowhere as fast because we don't have money.
Yeah.
Answered that
So it's a
question.
good idea, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point, we
We'll figure it out.
put it on a select board, so you at least
Yeah.
talk about it, I
Yeah.
can share plans with you guys.
Yeah. Or wait till the new town manager comes in.
Joe, question, what do you think the cost? What do you think the cost of this little number would be? $25,000? Okay.
Okay, so you'll give us an update and let us know where you get to with that.
Yep.
Sound good? It is my understanding that the community liaisons are not here this month and will be here next month, so we're gonna table that for the next month. I do see Devin is here from Railroad Street. do you want to give us an update?
Hello,
Hi there.
can you hear me? Okay, awesome. I'm sorry, and just an overall update.
Anything you feel like we need to know?
So as far as the skate park goes, we're still like myself and my supervisor have been working hard to just like start getting people's interest back up for when we do hire, once we have all of the and like the numbers for this season. But then I actually do have one more thing that might come up on your guys' radar for the month of March for your guys'
Okay.
park mission. So RSYP is looking to do a block party. I think in years previous we had, I think it's been a few years since it's come by, but I do have this blurb that I got from my higher up, and I just want to read it out to you guys so that you guys have a little bit of an idea of what's coming up. So it would be for Saturday, June 14th. The time is still being determined, but it's called the RSYP Block Party. The goal is to celebrate and recognize local youth, their joy, talent, initiatives, and programs involvement. It's a chance for them to be seen by their community and family, and also a chance for the community to see RSYP. This year, RSYP is also celebrating its 25th anniversary. In the past, music, food, and fun have been a big part of it, and we expect to recreate that. We will also invite community partners and other organizations to be a part of it. We would be hosting outside, so this is the part where it would kind of come through you guys. I think we're looking more towards the skate park, but it would be hosted outside, and there might be some food vendors and some organizational games.
Great. I'm sure this is on your radar, Devin, but if you will submit a parks usage request form,
Yes.
March is a great meeting to do that at, but probably we even could do it in April. So March's meeting is the 3rd. And if you could have that parks usage request form to us a week before the meeting, that would be great.
Perfect. That sounds amazing. I'll let the team know. I'm personally not on this board for this specific event, but I will let them know and I'll help them with the process.
Perfect. That sounds great. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you.
Excellent. Citizens, I know Veronica, you're here. If you would like to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hi there. So I know a little bit about this, but if you would just share with the commission a little bit about what you're trying to do, and we can help problem solve this with you.
Awesome. So I'm with Southern Berkshire Youth Football and Cheerleading. I'm the board member and the head cheerleading coach. We're looking to start fundraising a little earlier this year, and some of the ideas that we're thinking about include using the Hoosie Dome to do a kids movie night, ideally. We're looking to maybe do 2 dates, and we're using this fundraiser to help us get funds into our scholarships that we do. It's just under 3,000 for the year for the families that we get each year. It's about 15 kids. The movie night, what we were hoping to do would be to serve popcorn and any baked goods or prepackaged snacks. I am Serve Safe certified. I'm not going to do any hot foods of sorts, but we also would provide maybe some juice boxes, some waters. The age range is elementary and middle school, so between 5 and 14, which is the same age that we have for all of our football and cheerleading children that are in our league. Our parents would be, it's kind of up to you guys, but we were gonna let it be recommended that they stay. We were gonna hope to also partner with one of the Hoosie restaurants to see if they could do like a dine to donate to try to keep those parents closer who maybe just want to get, you know, a little bit of quiet time while their kids at the movie. But that's kind of what we're wondering, if the Hoosie Dome would be a possibility to do this fundraiser.
So the original dates that were suggested are dates that are not available on the calendar, and
What are they?
they were March 8th and 29th.
We ran
Um,
those dates. I mean, honestly, a Friday night, a Saturday, we were hoping for March because we know it'll still be cold. April's a possibility, but we really don't want to go any later than that. Our board is flexible. And because I didn't know of a way to see your calendar, I kind of threw out some ideas. So however,
29.
there, I think still Woozy basketball says it's in there.
Yeah, but what
Yeah, but
time?
They gotta be done, cause they're gonna be in
That'd be
tournaments
the
at
end
that
of-
point. That would only be a practice night.
Cool, all of
Yeah.
that sounds great. I just, for the record, it is on the calendar as already in use, so.
Right, but I think we have to be a little careful, with all due respect to Whoosy, of giving them just like this whole blanket thing and then going by there and the lights are out. Because
Agreed.
they're done.
Absolutely
I
agree.
think if they can work with Matt, or you, Alana, work with Matt.
Yeah.
And Veronica to come up with 2 dates, this is something good to use the Whoosy Dome for, and if it's otherwise gonna be just dark.
Great.
Even, I would even say this, I don't care whether it's whatever, they have 90% of it all the time, and I think that this is definitely something to share it out. It's the end of March, the season's over. I would definitely, I think this can be easily facilitated.
And it looks like potentially also in April, Fridays and Saturdays could
Absolutely.
be available. So I asked Veronica to come tonight anyway. How does everyone feel about the plan? A movie night,
Good.
snack?
great.
I suggested shoes off and,
Have to be.
She should meet with Joe, just.
And
like
adult
everyone else does.
chaperones,
Yeah.
not everybody should go next door for dinner. We need to make sure that
There are enough-
humanoids are well corralled, yes.
great.
We will
So
really have at least 4, if not more, parents. Absolutely.
Well, wait a minute, how many kids you planning on having?
We don't want to go more than 50, but it's up, honestly, it's up to you. If you want to cap out at a certain number, if you want to say X amount of parents per kids, it's
I
completely.
would like an adult for every 10 to 15 kids minimum.
that sounds good.
Okay.
That's the number I would look at, knowing full well what goes on.
Because it's not on the agenda, you have permission to work with Chris and get this done?
Yes,
Yeah.
great. So,
Good.
so Veronica, that's the plan. Sound okay? You and I will connect. We can connect tomorrow. And I am gonna ask you to meet with Joe about his requirements for taking care of the space while you're in it.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna suggest and run by Matt, the second date in March that you suggested,
29.
which is the 29th, and then potentially a date in April.
Yeah,
If that's okay, we would skip 2 weeks. I could pull that up, but skip 2 weeks and do that next date.
planes to the gym.
Great. That sounds great.
Hard.
Sound good, Veronica?
Yes, thank you.
There we go.
Thanks for being here.
Marvelous.
Okay, any other citizens here to speak? Okay, commissioners, Julie. Bill?
Yeah, Joe, I went down to the lake back in, December before we had any kind of snow. And, the beach area, the grass, the runoff, that whole area seems like that it needs, there's some remediation that needs to be done there to deal with the runoff. Right now on the beach, there's a huge chasm that's cut out from the runoff that starts all the way at the top of the walkways there. And the logs that have been placed in there to divert them.
I don't know who did that.
Yeah, I don't know who did it, but that's diverting water into the sod and undermining the sod. So I think in the spring, we're gonna have some major things to look at with the beach and getting that place usable for the summer. You know, I could be wrong, but it looked like,
Not two shoes, because we don't have that kind of money.
yeah.
So, you'll put that on your,
Yeah, we'll take a look at it, see what's going on.
thank you.
Yeah,
Cool. Anything else, folks?
that's it.
Thank you. David? Karen?
Yeah, I have a couple things. Number one, I just wanted the commission to know that, after the last meeting, I had a chat with Mr. Souls at the high school and the ice rink is up. Which worked out beautifully. He's like, oh yeah, the ice rink. I'll get it in. So that's up. I don't know how long it's gonna last. I think what I would like to do is have the Park and Rec send a reminder on December 1st to the school district saying, don't forget the rink. Get it up and get it going, because they got it, he got it together in about 7 days, but we had the right weather for it. And so that's it. The other thing I'd like to do, I'd like, because there's a lot that should be done and could be done, and I would like each commissioner, and we don't have to decide tonight, but I think each commissioner needs to report back to the commission every month that there is a department or an area or a thing of expertise or a plan or a program that they are gonna be the shepherd. And that they are gonna come back every month and tell us what they've done in order to improve the communication, the marketing, the public relations, because it ends up that 3 or 4 people do a lot of work and some don't do any. So I think it's time that there be a broadening of the whatever, you know, and I would like everybody on the commission to pick something that they are happy about, or they want to make sure that it's their bit. And I think it's time that we all did more work. Because I get the feeling that some do none and some do a lot.
So I'm gonna suggest that we put that on the agenda for next meeting.
Sure. People can think about it and ponder that.
Maybe we could have some clarity as to what that means, like, you know, you talk about communication and, you know, maybe that could be some kind of clarity as to how. Do we reach out to people around programs around there? Do we clean up
I
the
think
area?
that it's up to the commission to figure out what they have. For instance, I know where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be at the Hoosie Dome with the with the pickleball and the development that we have a guy coming in and doing lessons tomorrow, free clinic. Okay, that we've done, that's not costing anybody anything. And we've got people involved in it. That's my bailiwick. I don't know what you wanna do, Bill. I don't know what Julie does. You know, trees are one thing. Sir Debbie, Tom, what are you gonna do to pay attention to it and say, like, I'll use Tom, it's easy. The playground. Maybe he can come up with a thing where he's like, you know what? I think we've done some things, but I think there's some other things that I could do to help the Parks Commission do more for that area. And then same thing with you, Sir Debbie, and same thing with you, Julie. I'm not saying I'm gonna tell you what, I want you to say what you're gonna do. And it gives you a month to sort of think about.
So we're gonna put this on the agenda for next month. And I think the idea, at least to start the conversation, is what this like charge of duties looks like.
Yeah.
What the charge of duties for commissioners look like,
Yeah.
and how do we follow up on it in some way that is trackable? And that's it. We're a committee that can decide amongst ourselves what our charge of duties is. How's that sound?
Sure.
Okay, for March's meeting.
Good,
Great.
I won't be here.
Okay.
I'm telling you what I'm doing now.
Okay, if you wanna.
It's easy
send
enough.
me
I'm all,
Any notes?
I'll be in Kenya, so
Okay.
whatever you got.
You got it. Anything else, Karen? You're good.
No, I think I was pleased. I was glad that Julie brought up the ice rink, and I was glad that I was able to poke the school district, and they moved. That's what the most important. I was like, holy shit, how this up?
Thanks for doing
Yeah,
it. It
that's
looks nice.
Yeah, it looks
really
good.
nice.
Thank you, Steve.
Nothing, thank you.
Tom.
Well, I just wanna maybe reflect or add a little bit to what you were suggesting. What you just talked about, and my experience has been that part of is to getting input from the people that are using these parks is an important part of that, and maybe there's gotta be some better ways or some ways that we can reach out, or, you know, rather than just be reactive when somebody comes here and says there's a
Absolutely.
problem.
That's a great, I think that's what I'm looking for, is how do we get the information? I mean, you're always gonna have a squeaky wheel, but not the non-squeaky. How do we get group conscience about a facility or a space and the best way to approach? Like, I know one thing that we have totally dropped the ball. I would like to see, and I'm gonna drop this right in Julie's lap because it's her bailiwick. I would like to see the National Shade Foundation contacted to find out how we can get grants to put trees down at Memorial Field, so there's some shade. You know, that type of stuff, which is sort of like not And you may say, I don't wanna do that, that's okay, I'm just saying, that's the type of thing that comes into my head at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, oh, Shade Foundation, you know.
Great, it's gonna go on the agenda for the next.
Great.
meeting. Anything else, Tom?
No.
Okay, nothing from me. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Yoda.
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.